I'm Marnie Baker-Stein. Welcome to the Provost Update. Today I'm here with Hilary Simon, our Senior Manager of Social Emotional Learning at WGU. So welcome, Hilary.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
I'm so excited to have you here. So we're going to start with something simple. We've all heard about social emotional learning. Many of us who have kids have experienced it in K through 12, and we've been hearing about it at WGU. But what does it mean, and what does it mean at WGU?
Well, it sounds simple, but it's actually kind of complicated because there's sort of two parts to social emotional learning, and those two parts then support each other and are interconnected. So one part of social emotional learning is a framework of skills that we develop over time, and those skills lead to success in academics, success in our careers, success in our lives. The other part of social emotional learning is an approach to learning that recognizes the conditions in which we learn impact what and how we learn. And we have to do both. We have to know those skills in order to provide those conditions. We need to provide those conditions in order to nurture and develop those skills.
Wow, it's really super interesting, and it's super complicated. Because it's about learning, it's about emotion, it's about transformation. I know from my own experience in working around the SEL field, a lot of people believe it's all about learning to be happy or learning to be positive. But it's not all sunshine and roses, is it really?
No, and I'm glad that you say that because there is this trending misconception that we're pushing sort of a Pollyanna approach to positivity. What social emotional learning offers is tools to navigate challenges. It recognizes that we do have hard stuff in this world and that we can get through the hard stuff and thrive in and after the hard stuff by having skills at our disposal.
That's right. And there is room for both glass half full and glass half empty people in this work, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. The other thing that I think is so wonderful about our approach here at WGU is that by recognizing that we can develop these skills in everyone, we're also recognizing that everyone has strengths and abilities and possibility and potential, that we don't all have to be one way, but that we all have the potential to succeed.
Yeah. So you joined, when did you join? 2019. So, and you started this work and sort of started your roadmap for this work well before COVID. Designed the project, the resilience project that you were going to do before COVID hit. But then COVID hit, right? And everything just changed. What has SEL become to WGU since COVID hit in March 2020?
Well, I think it's interesting, actually, because on one hand, what COVID did was that it emphasized how important supporting the whole person is. But on the other hand, it didn't really derail an effective SEL implementation because we recognize that whatever comes our way, we can develop skills to support ourselves. And all that COVID did was emphasize that maybe some of the systems and the structures and the practices that we had in place that we had developed over time weren't the best and most adaptive solutions, and that we could change course to be more in line with how we're neurologically designed to be kind, to be compassionate, to be empathetic, to connect. And so the SEL initiative sort of has approached implementation through three sort of project buckets. The first one is all about building competence. And so earlier you talked about the resilience program. And through that, we're teaching all faculty and employees skills for navigating challenges and thriving in life. We also have just published, that I'm really excited about, a SEL skills collection as part of the WGU Skills Library. And that is going to help our course designers, our assessment designers, our program designers and developers create really contextually relevant competencies that help our students learn these skills and apply them in their careers.
And that's, Hilary, that's open not just to WGU, right?
No, that's what's so exciting, is that by publishing this with the Open Skills Network, we can get feedback from other organizations, we can further develop our skills, and we can influence the whole landscape of skills development, which is incredible.
Yeah.
It's just incredible. Another thing that we're doing to build competence is we have the Sel Toolbox, which is an asynchronous program for all members of the community of care that teaches how to teach, model, coach, and integrate critical power skills tied to academic success and career advancement. So that's the first bucket, is all about building competence.
Yeah.
Another bucket is about building connection. And now that we are remote, we're seeing how important that connection is, and we're realizing that we shouldn't take it for granted. So we launched community building circles in partnership with the DEI department about a year ago, and we're hoping to expand those past ERGs to the entire learning community at WGU. Those are beautiful, carefully constructed opportunities for deep listening and deep sharing. And then we have the SEL Champions team, which is open to anybody in the organization who wants to partner on expanding this work, connecting with others who are interested in this work. We have about 190 representatives from all of the colleges and university functions at the moment. And then the final bucket is all about providing the means for ongoing examination and cultivation of skills. And so we create and share on-demand tools and resources. And so we have the SEL SharePoint site, which we're going to link to in the article that's connected to this video. You can also find it on the How to WGU section of the internet. And then we also have another example of a project that we've done is we've created on-demand interventions and coaching supports within the personal learning guide. So students have access to activities right away that help them with time management, and with stress management, with strategic thinking. And faculty who are supporting the students have on-demand resources available so they feel confident coaching those students.
Yeah, that is just amazing. It's really amazing work. And I have a couple of questions that just from listening to you that I'm thinking about. So one of the things that I'm thinking about as you're talking about the work is I was at a meeting yesterday, and they put a slide up, and unfortunately I can't remember where this work came from, this study came from, but there was a survey of top CEOs of top companies from across the US, and asking them how important they felt self-development in the realm of social emotional learning was to their effectiveness as a leader. Like, is it required to develop yourself in order to develop your team, in order to develop your organization? And like 95% of them said yes, it absolutely is. Prior to COVID, only 24% of them said yes in the same survey. And I thought that just hit me. I thought, wow, like the transformation around the need for self-reflection and the need to lead with empathy first since COVID is it's incredibly powerful. Are you seeing this transformation in our own people at WGU, in the students? Are they seeking this? Are you having to pull them into it?
Say a little of A and a little of B, but it's gotten easier and easier with each quarter. And as more champions within the organization are sharing their success stories, I was just looking back over some feedback that program mentors who had completed that Sel Toolbox had shared with their college's VP. And they were sharing things like, now that I know these skills, I know that I can slow down and listen. And one program mentor shared that in a recent conversation with a student, the student asked her how she was doing. And she said, I just realized that my students are doing the skills that I'm doing. So it really is coming to fruition.
Yeah, that is lovely. And as it has to be, you know, it just takes time. So in all of this work, through the resilience training, through the toolkit development, and especially through these circles that you have been designing and you have been facilitating around this work. In fact, Michelle Jungbauer was here a little while back, and she talked about the work that you did with the environmental barriers team, who are reaching out directly as sort of our front line with students who've been impacted by COVID-19 and its cascading impacts. Like, what have you learned? Like, what are your key takeaways from this experience you've had over the last 2 years, and how can we apply them to our professional and personal lives?
Well, the pandemic served as a disruptor. And what we know about disruptors is they can be difficult, but they can also then create fertile soil for growth and opportunity. We can begin to approach the world with a sense of wonder again and a bit of that beginner's mind. One of my favorite neuroscientists is Richie Davidson, and he loves to talk about how we are innately inclined towards goodness, that little babies, like 6 months old, will spend a longer amount of time staring at a video of shapes helping each other than shapes that aren't helping each other. We want to see goodness. And then somewhere along the way, we got some weird messaging that we weren't supposed to care, that we weren't supposed to wonder, that we had to know everything in bark orders, right? And it is, in fact, in conflict with our true nature. So I have 2 takeaways that we can all do. One is a process that I teach to everyone I possibly can. I taught it to my mom, and she's lactose intolerant, so she came up with a really great acronym. The process is pause, breathe, notice, choose, and proceed. And her acronym is peanut butter, not cheese, please, right? So it's a simple process. First, we have to pause. We're not pausing enough, right? We're in this constant reactive state of moving. So pause. The next thing is to breathe. And when we breathe, we re-engage and we regulate the nervous system so we can think constructively again, right? So we pause, breathe, and then we notice. And that's part of that curiosity in that beginner's mind that I was talking about a minute ago. What are my thoughts? What are my perceptions? And then the next C, which my mom calls cheese, is choose, is we actually have some control over how we react, right? Which is really important for us to remember and for us to share with our students. That level of agency exists, right? And then the last step, because there's many mindfulness processes that have those first 4, but the last step that is tied so much to resilience is proceed. So not only do we make that choice, but then we take productive action in line with that choice. So pause, breathe, notice, choose, and proceed. So if we all just engage in that practice more, we're helping ourselves and we're helping our whole community. And then the other takeaway is for people to be comfortable and actively using the SEL SharePoint site, because it has resources for how to support students, it has resources for leaders on how to support their teams, and it has resources for individuals on how to help themselves.
Absolutely. And even if it's just little bits, just go and get a little juicy bit and implement it and practice it, and then go back and take another and another. What an incredible resource. Thank you, Hilary, for joining us here today. And thank you for all of your amazing work that you're doing and all of the positive energy that you're bringing to WGU and the WGU mission. Thank you so much. The Provost Update is your opportunity to share good news happening across the academic organization. Let us know when you or someone you work with has been involved with something exciting and noteworthy. Reach out to us with your news and story ideas at academicnews@wgu.edu. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.